Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Thursday, June 16th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Notre Dame game is in 79 days, the game against Michigan in 163 days. Another day of Ohio State football camp is in the books, a few more scholarship offers went out, and there's a whole lot more to talk about. My guest today is Marc Givler. Kevin Noon, and I were out at the camp all day, but learned our lesson after yesterday's show inside a sauna and are doing this back at home in the comfort of our own air-conditioned homes. Marc, thanks for being here.
Yep, good to be here.
So we got to see, it was another day where there were a decent number of interesting players to keep an eye on, and it wasn't, this was not the most loaded camp of the summer, but there were several guys who kind of stood out and, you saw getting a little bit of extra attention. One of them was Donovan Johnson. He's a running back for 2025. So we're talking about someone who just wrapped up his freshman year of high school. He already has an Ohio State offer. We didn't see a ton of Ryan Day, but Ryan Day came out to watch him work out along with Tony Alford. What did you get to see out of Donovan Johnson? Were you impressed with what you saw from him?
Yeah, look, he's only going to be a sophomore, and he has the build of a guy who's going to be a senior. So definitely kind of right out of a lab of how you would want your running back to look. He's was listed 6'1", 190, and that sounded about right to me. He's going to be one of those big, 6 foot, 6'1", 220 pound, bell cow backs to the next level. Really good feet, really explosive. I think he ran like a 4.6 flat 40, which is good. It's not, it's not elite, but it's really good for a sophomore. I mean, that's a kid who'll get a lot faster when he gets into a college strength and conditioning program. So a lot to like there, and caught the ball pretty well. You see a lot of these big backs, kind of, especially when they're younger, struggle with the drills with the pass catching. But I thought he caught the ball pretty well. If you look at someone like Richard Young, like going back to last year when he was going into his junior season, I thought Donovan caught the ball much better than Richard did last year at the camp. So some good things there, and definitely a guy that you can see why he's got about 20 offers already.
And he not small offers either. I think we talked at camp. I think you said he has Georgia offers, and big time programs in addition to Ohio State.
Yeah, like Georgia, I think Penn State, I think Florida State, Ohio State, USC. Yeah, there's some big ones there.
All right, so then that was one of the afternoon guys we were watching earlier in the day. They always do the big men in the morning, so offensive line and defensive line in the morning. There were a couple of offensive linemen that we spent a lot of time watching. One was Ben Roebuck. One was Ian Moore. One of them walked away with an offer after camp on what day was it? Wednesday? It's been a long week. After camp on Wednesday. What were your impressions of those two guys?
Yeah, I thought they were both solid. I thought, Roebuck's the bigger kid, maybe the more physically imposing guy. I thought Moore probably had the quickest feet of the guys that they were really looking at on Wednesday morning. There was obviously Roebuck, Moore, and then the Jensen kid from Wisconsin, the 2024 kid. So I thought Moore, probably the best feet of the group, is maybe the more sure tackle prospect, which I think has probably helped in their decision-making process in terms of what they did there Wednesday morning. So that's, something to take away from that. I know that they are looking for tackles in the next two classes. There's a lot of guard options out there right now, or that they have committed. So I think, again, kind of with the focus being on tackles right now, it made some sense to me. I thought Roebuck and Moore were both pretty good today. And, we see what happens now with Roebuck. I know they tried to work him in at guard a little bit in the one-on-ones, and he while that may be his future, that's not what he does at St. Ed's. So that was kind of interesting to me. They were trying to get a look at him at both spots. So we'll see. We'll see what they do with Roebuck here. I think probably some early season film will tell the tale.
Well, those guys were working with the rest of the campers and working with Justin Fry in kind of a group setting. We saw a couple of guys working one-on-one with Ohio State coaches, doing kind of like a private workout. We mentioned Donovan Johnson earlier. Another guy we saw was tight end Christian Bentencur. He was working inside with Kevin Wilson. Bennett Christian was there sort of working with him, just demonstrating some drills and that kind of stuff. What did you see out of Christian Bentencur? Because he ended up earning an offer as well. So he obviously showed Kevin Wilson what he was looking for.
Yeah, I'm glad they offered him just because I kind of posted on the site that it was kind of a no-brainer to me that they should offer. So I guess I'm not a total idiot on that. They saw the same thing. Um, he caught everything. I didn't see the ball hit the ground. He made some really good catches. The ball wasn't always perfectly thrown. He went up and made some really good catches. Really strong hands. Um, Physically very stout, very like I think you look. I looked at like his Twitter profile picture, and he looked a little leaner. He's a big kid. He's really strong. So he'll be a guy who can block pretty well. Didn't wear gloves during the drill when he was catching the ball, so he reminded me a little bit from a build and kind of the way he played, like Nick O'Leary. If anyone remembers him, Jack Nicholson's grandson played at Florida State. Also doesn't wear gloves. Would go out in Florida State and catch without the gloves, and kind of a unique thing these days. All these guys wear the gloves now, but that's kind of who he reminded me of physically. Um, Ran pretty well. I don't know if he ran a 40 or not, but I could tell he was moving pretty well on the routes and everything. And I thought it was a really strong performance. I thought it was the best 2024 tight end performance I've seen this month at Ohio State. So I thought they offered the right guy so far. Um, and now we kind of wait and see. He's a Midwest kid. He goes to a Catholic school in Illinois, so does Notre Dame get involved? And if so, what does that mean? But I think this was a good start, obviously, and the right decision.
Yeah, I think I saw Iowa on his profile as well as one of his other top schools. So yeah, you have the Catholic school thing working for Notre Dame. You have the tight end thing working for Iowa. So yeah, I have to keep an eye on that one. But yeah, he looked physically ready to play at the college level. So definitely one. I think you and the coaching staff both probably had that one correct. Someone else who watched in the morning in that group setting was defensive end Logan Thomas. He was not, he's not the biggest guy out there, but he looked very quick to me. He seemed like he won a lot of his one-on-one reps during that winner-loser period at the end of the morning. What did you see out of Logan Thomas?
Yeah, I really liked him. I don't know what they're going to do. As of yet, they have not offered. I don't know if they will or not. That maybe that's a film situation, or maybe they just take a day or two to work that out. It wasn't like a situation where I'm like, oh, that you can't let this kid leave without an offer. But I thought he was really good. Really, really big wingspan, like long arms. Like you said, not super physically developed yet. Has a lot of growing, filling out to do. But like I said, big wingspan, great first step, get off, played low. I was able to kind of get under the hands of the linemen a little bit in one-on-ones. So I mean, I think that's the type of guy you mold, in a couple of years and in 2 or 3 years, see what he is, and could be a really good pass rusher.
Yeah, a lot of the times you've got the guys who are potentially earning an offer that day, and other times you've got guys who are kind of put a pin in this one and come back to it in 6 months, a year, or sometimes even after the first half of the next year's film, and then you're seeing some familiar names getting offered at that point. So he seems like he falls into that bucket. One more guy we saw on Wednesday that I wanted to ask you about was linebacker Christopher Jones. The afternoon, we have had crazy loaded talent afternoons. This was not a crazy loaded talent afternoon, but Christopher Jones seems like he might have been the best player out on the field all afternoon. What did you see out of him?
Yeah, and they actually did offer him. He had a great day. He just looked the part. I mean, he's the most physically impressive guy in the group. He can run. The thing that I thought was interesting, and maybe I don't know if this is what sold Ohio State or not, but they were doing some drills with getting off blocks and just kind of keeping your eyes up and making sure you're reading, where the ball carrier's going, and kind of, basically, can you walk and chew gum at the same time type of drills. And a lot of the kids had to redo them, and I watched Christopher go right through it like it was nothing. I'm like, oh, well, that was good. Like, because Knowles kept making the guys redo the drills, or he'd have something to say, like, oh, you didn't do that right. And then Jones just kind of came through and boom, boom, boom. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that was good. So he did a great job with what they were asking him to do, in addition to being very athletic. I was running around there. I thought he looked tremendous. I had, not a kid. I mean, we had him on our list, so we knew he was going to be there, but was not a kid I was super familiar with, other than, looking at his recruiting profile, not a kid I had seen before. So really good first impression, and for me, and just a guy that popped to me. And the afternoon was not great, but Stacey Gage bumped his visit till next week, so he'll be here when Dylan Raiola is here, so that's good. And Tyseer Denmark, the highly touted wide receiver in 2024, his Roman Catholic team is actually doing the 7-on-7 on Thursday, later today. So he'll be able to get his work in front of the Ohio State coaches at the team 7-on-7 event.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit in our rundown since you were talking about the 7-on-7. Tyseer Denmark is obviously one name to know. I know Ryan Montgomery, the 2025 quarterback, is going to be quarterbacking the Finley team. Who are some other names to know, guys to watch maybe during that 7-on-7 event on Thursday?
Yeah, that's the funny thing about this is there's not a lot of it's not an individual event, it's a team event. So it's one of those deals where you're getting a lot of high school teams, but I'll throw out a way too early name. Is Zion Robinson. He's a wide receiver at Pickerington North. He's going to be a freshman. He's a 2026. He has been at some big camps this spring already. Did really well at the Under Armour camp. And that is the guy, and the Pickerington North coaches will know this. They've coached Jack Sawyer. They've coached quite a few Division I prospects over the years. And they haven't raved about a kid like this going as a freshman since they told me, they came up to me, the same time in Jack Sawyer's career and said, this is going to be a national kid. They're saying the same thing about Zion. So that's a kid I want to watch tomorrow, especially with Tyseer Denmark there as well. So you kind of get to compare, okay, here's what a 2024 top 100 guy looks like. What, if Zion's in that league already or, kind of where he's at with that. But that's a guy to definitely watch. And then, I know Olentangy Orange actually has some talent. I want to see if they have anyone that's maybe, Ohio State type of caliber, or if it's more of maybe a MAC Big Ten situation. But I know they've got a few guys I'm going to be kind of curious to watch. But it's one of those things where, you've got a bunch of different teams from around the state coming. So it's not like it's not like the South Florida Express is coming up here. It's not going to be like that.
All right. And then the last thing for today's show, got to do a little flashback to yesterday's show. I was talking to Bill. He was talking about how you and he had some different views on a couple of the offensive linemen who you guys watched yesterday, which a lot of times you guys are kind of right in lockstep on, yes, this kid is good. Yes, kid, no, this kid is not Ohio State good. It sounds like, you weren't crazy far off, but you share what you thought about Luke Hamilton and Phillip Daniels on at camp on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, well, also, with Phillip, that was my surprise of the day. Probably one of my 2 or 3 biggest surprises of the month so far, as far as guys that, I didn't really know much about, or maybe wasn't expecting to really impress me. But I was really impressed with Phillip Daniels. No, I don't think I would offer Phillip today if I were Ohio State, and I haven't said that, but I would put him maybe high up on the list of plan Bs as we talk about, if things go south here with some of their other targets. And I do think they're going to let that play out this month. I think they're going to let the visits go through this month. I don't think they're going to go on someone like Phillip Daniels this summer. I think Phillip would have to put some good tape out in August, September. But I would move him ahead of like Jordan Hall. We've talked about Jordan Hall quite a bit, the local kid. As a plan, Phillip to me would be a much safer pick at 6'5", 285. You got super long arms. I don't. That's, to me, Phillip is the type of kid who, if he goes to Minnesota or Pitt, he'll be the type of kid that in 4 years ends up getting drafted, and everyone's like, man, none of the big Midwest schools offered him. What happened? And I'm going to be there saying, hey, they missed, because I do think he's good enough to play at, whether it's Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, these 4 or 5, Michigan, these 5 or so big Midwest schools. It is a little surprising to me, given the position he plays and kind of how rare, how hard it is to find these guys. It is a little surprising to me that he doesn't have any of those at this point. And then Luke Hamilton. I don't know what Bill said about Luke. I really like Luke. I don't have any delusions of Luke playing left tackle at Ohio State, but I think he's a plug and play guard. I think he's really good. All
right, so there's your scouting report on those two guys. Yeah, I don't think you guys were too far off on Luke Hamilton. I think it was more of a Phillip Daniels. You guys were maybe a little further apart on there, but yeah, just always good to get both of your perspectives. That's a nice thing. We've got lots of people out there, so we can get lots of different perspectives and lots of photos and lots of videos and lots of interviews and articles and everything else. So we will be back out there yet again today for the 7-on-7 day. looking forward to that. Should be just a little bit of a different format, get a little more of a game situation kind of thing going. So, and yeah, as Mark said, there are a few names definitely to keep an eye on. I'm really looking forward to seeing Ryan Montgomery, the 2025 quarterback. You know, he obviously, his older brother Luke already committed to play offensive line for Ohio State in the 2023 class. So, you know, will he be the next guy behind Dylan Raiola in that 2025 class? I guess we will get a little closer to finding out on Thursday at Ohio State. So you can find all of our great coverage at Buckeye Scoop. You can find Mark and Bill, their podcast, Gives in the Bank. Always a fantastic listen. Kevin does the Big Me Kickoff podcast. Tony and I do the Buckeye Weekly podcast. Alex does Around the Oval. All great shows. You can find them all wherever you find this. Just search Buckeye Scoop to find all of them. You can subscribe right there and also leave us a 5-star rating and review, which will help other folks find those shows and which we truly do appreciate. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.